In Angular, every page is made up of components, and a component is just a box that has got its own HTML, CSS, and TypeScript. But it is important to note that these components, they do not live in isolation. They have to talk to each other. And that's where communication comes in. Okay, so in our previous video, we talked about the parent-to-child communication, where a parent component can send data down to the child component. Then we also have got child-to-parent communication, which is our focus for today, where the child can notify the parent that something has changed, so we need to do something. And lastly, we also have got sibling-to-sibling communication, which we will talk about later on. Let's think of an analogy here, where we've got a manager and employees. A manager in this case is our parent component, who can assign tasks to employees. The employees then go and do their work and notify their manager in the form of a report that something has happened. That is the communication which we are talking about, and that's the communication which we are going to focus on today. Another example which we can use is that of a doorbell. A child wants to get inside a house, so he or she has to emit a signal that is pressing the bell button, and the parent inside has to listen to the signal and react to it. Let's take a look at these two approaches which we have here. One, traditional approach, and another one, modern approach. Let's start with the traditional one. So, before we walk you through what happens step by step, we need to understand 4 things which are involved here, with each of these 4 things having a specific job. Starting with our decorator, which is the add output. This decorator here tells Angular that this property is an exit door, and the parent is allowed to listen to it. Without this add output, our property is invisible to the parent template. And then we have got the RxJS subject, our event emitter, which emits the value. Think of it as a doorbell wire. When you press the button, it rings the bell, and the value travels up to whoever is going to listen to it. We also have got a way of subscribing to the child's output, that is through the event binding. Then lastly, we have got the handler method. This is the parent function that runs whenever an event has been fired. So let's take a look at an example from what we have above here. Assume that a child component wants to communicate with a parent component. And in this case here, we have marked our liked property as an output. What does this mean? It means Angular will allow the parent component to bind onto it. The parent component, we will listen to the exact property name. Then we have our event emitter. This creates an image of type void. This means that we are not sending any data, just a notification that something has happened or a button has been clicked. Then we have our emit method. This now fires an event. It is at this moment that the signal travels upwards. But what if we want to send data? If that is the case, then we have to change the void type to a string or a number, and the parent will have to listen or will have to receive a value as a $ event. In our parent component, we can bind the child's output using an event binding syntax, such that each time it listens to an event coming from a child, it then goes on to run the onClick method, which in this case here increments the liked count by 1. With an output and event emitter, the child fires an event and the parents listen to it. It is a push-based subscription model, which is managed by Angular internally. But the new approach, which uses signals, the model is completely different. There is a shared reactive value, and when a value changes, Angular reactive graph automatically knows who depends on it and updated them. Meaning, no emitting, no subscription, just value. Let's take a look at these 2 examples to best describe the 2 approaches, starting with the old way. We have got a phone call. The child rings. The parent picks up the phone. Information is exchanged, and the call ends. But with the modern way, it's like a shared Google Docs. A child uploads or emits document, and the parent screens and updates live. Nobody calls anybody, just the document is always there and is always current. So, in the traditional approach, the child emits an event using an event emitter, and in the parent listens it using the event binding. But in modern approach, Angular introduces us to a cleaner way using output method. This modern approach removes the need for an output decorator and the new event emitter. And this gives us a more lightweight and a more modern syntax. The child still notifies the parent when something has changed, but the syntax and the internal implementation is now modernized. And again, just like in traditional approach, in modern approach, there are 4 things that you have to adhere to. Number 1, it uses output method. This replaces our output decorator and also the event emitter. An example is the one that I put up here in the screen. Now, this creates an output event directly. Angular now automatically understands that this is a property and it can communicate with the parent. And number 2, we've got the emitter. Just like before, we still use an emit method to fire an event. Just like the example that I put up here. This tells Angular that something has happened. Number 3, we also have got event binding. The parent still listens to an event binding syntax, or using an event binding syntax. For example, the one that I've put up here. So when the child emits, the parent reacts to it immediately. And the 4th one is the method handler. The parent still executes a method when an event has been fired, just like the example that I've put up here. So why is this method, or why is this approach better? Number 1, it has less boilerplate. We no longer need the output decorator and the event emitter. The code becomes cleaner and easier to read. Number 2, we now use a more modern syntax using the output method, which aligns with Angular's modern APIs.